Hey guys, so just a few key takeaways that I want to make sure are understood before you go into today's assignment on exploring exponential growth. Um, in general, this is the equation or the general formula for exponential functions in general. And remember that exponential functions get bigger and bigger, faster and faster, right? Because exponents get really big really fast. And that's exponential growth. There is also something called exponential decay, which is something that gets really, really small fast. And we'll learn about that tomorrow. But in general, this is the formula for exponential functions, where A is going to be your initial value, or your starting value, the amount that you start with. B is going to be your factor, right? How much you're multiplying by each time. And X is going to be how many times you have to multiply, how many times, right? So, for example, let's say that you had a situation where you started off with 100 bacteria. That would be your initial amount. That would be your A. So if you started off with 100 bacteria, and let's say that they tripled, right, your factor would be B. If they tripled every hour, and you wanted to know how many bacteria there would be after 4 hours, so you would have to figure out how much would be after 4 iterations of every hour. I'm sorry, 4. So your X, how many times, would be 4. So if you start off with 100 bacteria, they tripled every hour, and you wanted to know how many there would be after 4 hours, then your formula would be, the formula to figure that out would be f of x is equal to 100, which is your A, times B to the power of 4. And you always want to remember your order of operations, right? Right? So we make sure that we do our exponents before we do multiplication, because there is implied multiplication happening here between the 100 and the 3 to the 4th. But we want to do 3 to the 4th power first, our exponents first, and then multiply. So 3 to the 4th power is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 multiplied by itself 4 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 to the 4th power is equal to 81. So then we have, bringing this down, we have 100 times 3 to the 4th power, which we just said was 81. And I know that 100 times any number is just that number with 2 zeros after it. So I know that this is going to be equal to 8100. So my final answer would be that my A is equal to 100 because that was my initial value or my starting value. My B is equal to 3 because that is my multiplier, my factor, right? How much I'm multiplying by each time, because they were tripled, it would be 3. If they're doubled, there would be, your factor would be 2. And if they're, if you go by 4 each time, if you're multiplying by 4 each time, that's quadrupled. And I forget what it is for 5, like 6-tupled or something. No, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. You could look it up though. And my X would be 4 because that's how many times we need to do the multiplication to figure out how many bacteria there are. And my final answer would be that there are 8,100 or 8,100 bacteria after 4 hours if you start off with 100 and they triple every hour.